they have no experience at all about oil. And these are the same type of contracts we are signing today. And for me, I'm losing hope in our country as far as giving oil blocks are concerned. And the only justification we make, I talk to the Ministry of Energy, they say these are better contracts than the previous one because they offer higher local content. And you know what is happening? If they come in, they get their Ghanaian frontmen and give them 20%, 30%. But as soon as discovery is made, they get those Ghanaians to sell their stake to companies of their choice. Because they carry over the Ghanaians through the contract. The Ghanaians don't have the money. And so I bring you in and say, take 20 so that I can point to Ghanaians that I love Ghana. I respect the local content regulations. But they carry them through. The Ghanaians don't make any financial commitment. All the costs are paid by the foreign contractor. And when there is discovery, they say, Charlie, it's time for you to give it up. Sell it to this company, then I'll get my money. Because if they buy themselves, it will be too obvious. And so I want to ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the media, have you wondered why today there is no Ghanaian company on the operating license covering the Jubilee fields? Have you wondered? There is no Ghanaian company, local company. Eagle Group has sold Tali. Even though they were given this stake by customers, if they had sold to customers, we will make money. To be obvious, Talo bought, but customers got this money. Okay? Sabre, in which we had Ghanaian interest, sold to Petro South Africa. Sabre was given its stake by Talo. If Talo had bought Sabre, it would be obvious. And so Petro South Africa bought Sabre. And today, as we talk, there is no local company, no Ghanaian local company on the Jubilee field. And this is what is going to happen to all the new contracts we are seeing. I am in favor of Ghanaians taking share. I am in favor of that. But I think that fronting is frowned upon by the local content regulations. And punishment is criminalized. And so I want to urge you to go out there and make further research about the background of the people we are giving our contracts to. And what is even worrying, these are juicy blocks, as I call them, because we already have substantial data, assessment data on all the blocks we are giving out to them. So what is their investment? What is their investment? I need somebody who will invest, because we have, of the total hydrocarbon potential of Ghana, only 17% has been licensed. I want an investor who will be given a block in the unlicensed area to invest in technology, to gather data, seismic data, based on which Ghana can find new discoveries. And not areas we already have. These are areas GMPC should have gone on to do. GMPC can get partners to develop those things. I go to Norway and get AGR. I have a blog I want to develop. Come and partner with by providing technology. I'll pay you for your technology. One will make discovery. You come and partner me with engineering services. I'll pay you. This is what GMPC should have done. And not to package those blogs and give to the Nigerian companies who have no experience as far as, offshore oil production in larger quantities are concerned. I'm sorry I've taken you
All right.
Our gas is not enough. Why are we talking about petrochemical industry? We cannot say because the gas is not enough, we should use everything for power. Because we need other essential commodities which can be sourced from the utilization of the gas in other industries. And so it's a choice we have to make based on the multiplier effect. If we were to invest in gas, our gas in petrochemical, fertilizer for instance, I want to just give you some statistics. Globally, urea production globally is about 150 million tons a day. And only 40 million tons is traded globally. The rest are consumed in the producing countries. Now, of the 40 million tons traded globally, Africa's consumption sub-Saharan Africa is 2.6 million tons. Now, if we set up a 1.3 million tons of urea factory in Ghana, it means Ghana can supply half of Africa's requirement. And this will require about 800 billion standard cubic feet of gas over 25 years, meaning 80 billion standard cubic feet a day. Jubilee can do this alone if we decide not to use Jubilee gas for power. 10, which will peak at 80, can do this. And so the question one will ask is, should we use Jubilee gas for power, even though it's not enough? And then 10 gas goes to the petrochemical. So that if we diversify the uses, we will be able to add value, not only through electricity generation, but also through fertilizer production. Which one will give us a greater development impact is what I believe will define the choice that we will have to make. Now, about importing gas for petrochemicals, or what do we say, for petrochemicals, for firing our plants, and then using our domestic gas for fertilizer. Again, as an economist, I think that my interest is in which one will have lesser costs on the economy. If you import gas and use it for power, and the price of power is high, the cost of power is high, it translates throughout the economy. Because everything within the economy needs power. What about petrochemicals? For instance, fertilizer. It may support the agricultural sector, not the entire economy. And so, in terms of whether we should import for power and then use our indigenous gas for petrochemical, again, we must look at which one will put greater cost on the economy. The one that will put greater cost on the economy is important to fire our plant, because energy is used in every aspect of the economy. And so I will say that let's use our indigenous gas for power, so we reduce the cost of power generation, and then the cost to the economy as a whole is reduced. And rather import for petrochemical, because the fertilizer that we do will not only be consumed, we will again export, and so we can generate foreign exchange to neutralize. The APF, Section 21, which is supposed to help us achieve the diversification, we are again spending the largest proportion of that on oil and gas infrastructure, in addition to what is provided for under Section 7. And this is the component we call amortization, expenditure and amortization of oil and gas infrastructure loan. And that, I believe you all have heard, is becoming one of the major sources of the Ghana Infrastructure Fund. Now, if it goes to the infrastructure fund, it gives me some hope, because we may use it to finance road infrastructure, agricultural infrastructure, other infrastructure that will facilitate, economic growth through diversification. But if it continues to stay where it is and being used to finance oil and gas infrastructure, in addition to what is already spent on oil and gas infrastructure, where you and I know GMBC is not even using the money. They have complained to Parliament that they have some of the money sitting in their account, but they are committed to projects. When those projects will be realized, nobody knows. Why don't we spend that money in agriculture, in industry, in infrastructure, so that when the oil is no longer there, we have a good infrastructure to show? In human capital development, when the oil is no longer there, we have an educated mass of citizens who can then contribute to the development of our country. That is the way I think we should go. And so we need to live with the spirit and letter of the law, and not to use discretionary processes to apply the money to areas that will not help with diversification and therefore delivering tangible development outcomes when oil is no longer available.